Well, guys, it's finally here. It is time to review Leprechaun fucking Origins. This is a 2014 film directed by Zach Lipovsky. It stars Stephanie Benet and Andrew Dunbar, and it also stars Dylan Hornswoggle Postal as the Leprechaun. You notice I'm putting Leprechaun in parentheses. A group of friends backpacking across Ireland are tricked into staying in a cabin where they are being sacrificed to a leprechaun. Yeah, that's the story. Now, that wouldn't sound terrible if this movie was any good. This movie is absolute dog shit. I'm sorry, but it is. Made by WWE Films, who obviously did not understand the concept of this franchise whatsoever. And I watched some of the behind the scenes stuff where the director's saying things like, oh, well, we want to make a new vision for what could be the new Leprechaun. Yeah, it's called Leprechaun Origins. It's set in the exact same universe as the Leprechaun films, and it is to be considered a prequel, even though it's based in modern times and the originals were in the early 90s. Yeah, I don't think so. Guys, I don't have really a lot of good to say about this film. The one good thing I like in this film is there is a kill where the leprechaun rips out the guy's spine while he's killing him, and that looks kind of cool. Let's get into what I don't like about this film, starting with number one. It has nothing to do with the Leprechaun fucking franchise. It's called Leprechaun. It's based in that franchise. WD bought the rights to the franchise, and then they made a film that had nothing to do with the franchise. Number two, it has no Warwick Davis in it. That doesn't bother me in the next film I'm going to review, but it bothers me in this one. Yes, I don't care if you don't like that as a reasoning. I really don't care if people don't like my reasonings for what I don't like about this film. Number three, there is no real leprechaun in this movie. The quote-unquote leprechaun is not a leprechaun. It's just a generic monster. It looks like a Falmer from the freaking Skyrim video game. Which, by the way, I love that video game, but I want to watch fucking Leprechaun, not play Skyrim. Those of you that don't know what a Falmer is, it's a elf that's been basically turned into a goblin underneath the ground. Anyways, when they didn't give Warwick Davis the role in this movie, and I'm kind of glad that he didn't take it, especially seeing as how it is nothing like the other films. His talents would have been completely wasted. But they felt that they still needed a little person in the role of the leprechaun. And so they used WWE's resident little person at that time, Hornswoggle. I have nothing against Hornswoggle. I like Hornswoggle. Fun guy. They put him in this suit that makes him just about as big as anybody else. So why did they need a little person? Was it just for the novelty? Oh, it's the Leprechaun movie, so you have to have a little person in the role? Really? Yeah, sorry. That kind of bothers me. They literally, if you watch the behind the scenes, they put him in this giant suit that he has to use his arms and his legs to move that suit around. And it makes no sense. It looks terrible. Like I said, it should have just been called generic monster film. And then they have the gall to call this movie a slasher. It's not a slasher. It's a monster movie. This movie uses every horror cliche in the book, and it gets really annoying. They way overuse jump scares. That's another big con. The camera work is terrible. It is during, and now, I mean, there's some good long shots, pull away shots of the locale and the scenery and things like that, and the Irish countryside. That looks nice. But when they're getting into the meat of the film, they start doing all those stupid horror camera tricks. It goes blurry. It shakes a lot. It bounces. Oh my god, we're running, so it's got to jump up and down all the place. And it just is not done well. It looks like shit. Oh, yeah, just bad, bad horror cliches. They have like the old man with the shotgun standing out in the middle of the field for no other reason but just to look creepy. You know, they have the cliche of the kind, gentle woman, usually an older lady, kind of like Mrs. Blankenship in Halloween 6, who you think is the sweetest thing on earth. Turns out she's one of the bad guys too. Getting back to camera work and cinematography real quick. This movie's color palette is so oversaturated in dark tones that you can't see half the shit that's going on. And then, oh my god, don't even get me started on the fucking leprechaun vision. We get to see how the leprechaun sees the world, and it's basically Predator. Except everything's gold. Gold, gold, gold. He likes gold. People look like gold. He eats people. I'm assuming he probably also eats the gold. I'll bet you his fucking bowel movements are like, boom. And finally, guys, overall, this movie is just flat out boring. The characters are dull. They try to give them a little bit of development with the relationship between at least two of the characters. The other two are just your, hey, we're going to party, we're going to fuck, that kind of thing. Even though the guy gets drunk and falls asleep. Who, by the way, also is in Freddy vs. Jason. I like his role in Freddy vs. Jason a lot better than his role in this one. The main couple, they're going through some rough patches. And it's just kind of thrown in there. And all it does is to take away from the story, honestly. It detracts you from what's really going on in this movie. And it's kind of pointless, and it doesn't lead anywhere. Give a Easter egg salute to the original with the line, "Fuck you, Lucky Charms," which makes really, honestly, no sense in this movie because the leprechaun looks nothing like the fucky Lucky Charms guy. Looks nothing like Lucky. That was the whole point in the original film, was it looked like Lucky, and there was that shit that happened with the Lucky Charms cereal. With General Mills Cereal Company, the maker of Lucky Charms. They had that, beef with them, and it made sense there. To put it in this movie makes no sense. These two movies are completely different films. There's some gore in this film, but honestly, most of it's too dark to see. The best shot of the leprechaun is when The best shot of the leprechaun is when our main female... The best shot of our leprechaun is when our final girl beheads him. Oh, and that brings up another point. Everything in this movie was practically stolen from other films. There's a scene at the end of the film where the girl thinks she's safe and she's getting away. She's past the stones of protection. And in the very tall grass, you see three, even though you can't see them, you just see their trails in the grass. More leprechauns coming after her super fast. Which, by the way, was taken directly from Jurassic Park: The Lost World. They stole things from Red Harvest. They stole things from so many films in this movie. This director, all he knows how to do is copy people. This guy sucks. I mean, maybe I shouldn't be that harsh. I don't know if he's done anything else, honestly. I really didn't look him up. But I'm pretty sure I remember him saying this was his first film. And, dude, you need to have a vision of your own. Everything in this movie came from another film, including the Leprechaun vision. I'm sorry, guys. This movie is ass out terrible. I don't have anything nice to say about it at all. I hate this film. I had such high hopes when I first saw this movie. I couldn't wait to get my hands on it. I rushed out right away and bought it on Blu-ray, just like I did with Leprechaun Returns. I couldn't wait for a new Leprechaun movie. And I didn't know a lot about the movie going in. I knew it was going to be darker. I knew the Leprechaun was going to look a little different. But that's all I really knew. And I was so happy and so excited to get this, and it just totally disappointed me. 5 years later, almost to the week, this movie came out on Blu-ray DVD in September. Almost to the week, or month. Let's just say almost to the month. And I'm sorry, but this still disappoints. I have now watched this movie a total of 4 times. And I don't ever want to watch it again. It's going to take something really drastic to get me to watch this movie again. There better be a damn good reason if you're making me watch this film. Well, anyways, guys, I can't wait to get to the next film in this franchise, because honestly, it is a ton better than this movie. Even if it sucked to be better than this movie. But yeah, I cannot wait for that one. Sorry for the not so happy review, guys. I hope you enjoy it all the same. This is Bronco Juggalo saying, please check out the Horror Mob. That is my Patreon. I want to give a big shout out to all my Patreons. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. I truly appreciate it. This is Bronco Juggalo saying, you guys have a great fucking night. And fuck this movie, Lucky Charms. Peace.
Ice, and I start to sleep. In the dead of winter.